Hi everyone, it's Tracy here from Art Fiber Stitch. Today I'm going to make something a little bit useful out of these two bits of cardboard tube. I've cut out some circles and from this card here, it's not that thick, you can see there, and I've put one on and I used glue, cut out the circle, glued it, popped it on and let it dry. That's where I'm up to now, and I have two of them. Now what I'm thinking is I'll make a nice something, pencil holder, scissors, something that I need neat and tidy. And I got out this lovely piece of material. I've used it before, but I got a little bit left. I'm wanting to have a sort of a aqua theme to it, and this one had a little bit of aqua in it. Now can you see how I'm measuring how big a piece I need? A little bit, a centimetre, a half an inch, something like that on both ends, and also long enough to be able to go under and fold and over that so that you've got a little bit of play. So I've made another one, and here it is here, and I'm in the process, and it's going to be aqua. So let's finish this one off first. This is the plain one. Glue on the tubes, just some ordinary craft glue, fabric, white glue, whatever. And I've turned the top edge under so it makes a nice neat edge. And when it comes down to that end bit there, I've tucked that under, put one layer underneath, turned it over, and then I've pinned it to try and hold it in place whilst it dries. I'll be doing more to it later, but that's a really good start, I think. And the pinning, well, that'll hold it in place so it won't come undone whilst the glue is drying. So, there we are. Now, whilst it's there and I'm trying to get everything just right, I'm just making sure that's a nice corner there. It's still wet. I'm just going to add a little bit more here because it's double thickness where you turn under. There. And I want it to line up properly. Right, pins back in, and it'll dry and we'll see how it looks then. But in the meantime, I'm going to do a little bit more. I've got that nice top edge happening. That's good. We've folded over to make it neat. That makes a beautiful edge. And but now we're going to work on the bottom. And the bottom of it, where we put that circle of cardboard, is where we're going to try and make it a nice neat finish there too. We left that centimetre or half inch over. So what I'm doing now is giving it a little snip almost to where the cardboard is, and then overlapping and turning it round. I've glued a little around the edge and just pressing this down. Each little bit will go over top of each other, so it will make a lovely circle. And that's easily done, but only if you snip first. So I'll press that in so that looks really good, but I just don't want to leave it like that. So what I'm thinking is I might put another layer of cardboard on after that, but I'll leave it until we've had a look at this one. This is the partner to it, and can you see how I've started it? I've used a little bit of the same fabric and also this dark aqua teal color. See, this piece here, if I folded it under, I could use a smaller piece, but I'm just showing you how you would do it, and have a nice edge there, and then you can sew through like I have here. I used a aqua colored embroidery cotton, and I just did a nice running stitch both sides. And then I left a little tiny bit open. Can you see there? Like a little tiny pocket. And then to get a side on that pocket, I've done these two running stitch lines down, and then I thought, oh well, okay, I need to make that look like it's part of the design, so I added more. Now can you see I've started with a light pink there, and what I'll do is I'll add in a little bit more, but I also have to keep in mind, you know, how much of it will I see. You know, that bit will be turned over, giving me a nice edge, and then underneath, you know, I won't be seeing all of that. So I will do a little bit of embroidery, but mainly at the top there, I think. I could couch something on, like that piece I just showed you. That was a yarn that would have fitted in nicely. You could do all sorts, really. You could do a real fabric collage, a slow stitch, applique, anything. But the idea is that to make something pretty and useful, you know, out of a piece of old cardboard tube, something someone's thrown away. So I'm using this green to pink variegated thread. I'm using about 3 strands, I think, at the moment. Sometimes I'll use more, because I'm wanting to just bring a little bit of that pink that's in that center special fabric out into the aqua teal color that we have as the background. So, and also to disguise it, you know how I have those 2 white lines I started with as the edges of that little special pocket I've made. I'll show you later what I used that for, but it's just an idea I came up with that I thought you could be nice. I'm a great collector of things, especially when I'm out walking. A real magpie for looking at leaves and feathers and all kinds of special things. I find it and I bring it home. So you can see here I'm just doing ordinary running stitch, and that's all I'll do for the stitching. It's so easy and adds that little extra personal bit. So with any stitching, once I've threaded the cotton, I put a knot at the end and pull it up from underneath the needle so that the knot remains on the back out of sight. And here at the end, then I'll do a couple of stitches on top of each other to make sure it's knotted as well, so it won't come undone. And that's it, ready. So here's my cardboard roll. I want it to be like the other one, but I'm thinking, you know, to turn under that edge, maybe I should turn it under before I start. I'm using glue, but you could also use a fusible web, or you could sew it down, lots of things. But I'm just going to use glue because I've already got it out. And here I am applying glue to all of the surface, not every centimetre, but you know, just a line like here and there to make sure that it's pretty well covered. So I'm going to pop it down, leaving that centimetre or half an inch overlap above and below it. And then I'm going to try and roll this. But look how I've got one piece is longer than the other. I'll trim that first and get it all back to one level. But this is the edge that will be underneath. So it really isn't that important. So there we are, and I'm going to pull it and stretch it and keep that edge rolling right up near the edge of the tube. You can see it hasn't quite worked there. I'm just going to fiddle with that and make it just as perfect as I can. I can still pull it up because it's not dry. I can turn it under. I can put it back. I can massage it into place, which is what I'm doing here. But when we get to this bit, well, that's where we're going to have to turn it under. Oh, here I am. I'm still massaging that top just to make it right. And I think what's happened is that one material is more stretchy than the other when it's wet from the glue. But I think it'll dry right. I think it'll lose its stretch and come back into shape. And here, this last bit, we fold that under and we make sure that we've glued it and then we'll pin it. Later on, I'm thinking I might come back and just stitch that edge just to make sure. But look at this, we've got to make sure that those two panels line up, that we haven't gone skew-if when we've rolled it, but that's looking fine. So a pin in here just to hold it there, hold it closed whilst it dries, and we're nearly done. So there we are, we've got that top edge nice. Now let's work on the bottom. Well, this one was a little bit larger. I'm going to cut it back to it's only like I said, 1 centimeter or ½ an inch, something similar from the cardboard. And then we'll do the same thing where we did the snip, snip, snip down towards almost to the cardboard. And that helps it turn corners, you see. So that makes it easier to overlap it and push it all down into a nice rounded curve. A little line of glue around the edge there, and you'll find that that works quite well, overlapping each time, working our way around, pressing it nice and flat so it goes in towards the center. See, that's really quite tidy. So let's have a look. Look at the two together, because that was the whole idea, that we had two that would be similar, that would match in together without being the same. But now we're going to have a look at this. I've got this edge, it's still wet, but I'm just wanting to make sure that it stays where I wanted it, and I'm going to tuck that edge in. I'm going to tidy it up, make sure the knot that I've made is going to be underneath, and then I'm just going to do a few stitches as I work my way down, making sure that it's all held. I pick up a little bit of the fabric from underneath, and I make sure I go up and into that fold and back down again, and do the same thing each time on a diagonal, working further down the fold. And when I've traveled all the way down to the end, I'll do a little knot and cut the thread. And we're ready, I think. That's just about it. But I would like to tidy that up underneath. So that's what I'm going to look at next on there. So let's go back to the original cardboard. I've got a pen or a biro or a pencil, and I'm just tracing around the outside edge so I know the size for this bottom. And I'll cut it out and make it as neat as I can. Not that it matters that much, it is underneath. And we'll be ready to glue it on. And that will make sure that all of our edges really are included, hidden behind that layer of cardboard, and give us a double extra strong bottom. See here, I'm just putting a little bit of glue around the whole thing in a swirl and popping this second piece on. We'll let that dry now. That'll be a nice solid bottom and a nice neat edge. And now for the second one. It's looking pretty good. But let's just do the same thing here. A swirl with the glue, cut out a circle of cardboard and pop it on and let it dry. Now they are still wet, and because of that some parts of it look a bit patchy because it's, you know, wet bits and dry bits. But I just wanted to show you this lovely pocket that we made. How about if I went out and collected some twigs and things? That'd be quite nice, I think. Also silk flowers or artificial flowers of some kind. Maybe some gum nuts and feathers. Whatever you feel like, you could just keep changing it. And I think, isn't it lovely? It just sort of decorates it and sets it perfectly with the other. So I'll take some photos once it's all dry, and we'll have a look at how it really turned out. But pretty pleased so far. Look at how they match in. So have a look around the house and see what other things you might be able to recycle. Using these cardboard tubes and a few scraps of fabric, we've managed to create something that's beautiful and useful and was destined for the dump. So once again, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this project. If you have, don't forget to press like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.